Hello everyone! Welcome to another psychiatric and mental health nursing lectures. And for today, ang pag-uusapan naman natin will be the psychopathology, etiology, and the psychodynamics of eating disorders. Our objectives for this discussion, students will be able to explain the psychopathology, etiology, and psychodynamics of eating disorders, describe the treatment and management for patients suffering with eating disorders, differentiate all the types, describe eating disorders in terms of the client's difficulty in perceiving, relating to, and thinking about self, others, and the environment. We will be able to provide education to clients, families, caregivers, and community members to increase their knowledge and understanding of eating disorders, perform a mental status assessment, apply the nursing process, develop empathy, and evaluate personal feelings, attitudes, and responses to clients with eating disorders. Let's begin by defining what eating is all about. Well, eating, or in Tagalog or in Filipino, we call this as pagkain. Pagkain as action word, ibig sabihin nito, ito ay importanteng bahagi ng ating survival because it is part of our day-to-day life. Not only one of the factors or one of the part of our culture, of our practices, eating is one of the important activities for a human being to live, for a human being to survive. It's because as we eat, we intake food and fluids, which is necessary in giving fuel to our cells, to our body system, for our bodies to work. Kaya nga, significant ang activity ng pagkain or ng eating. Well, apart from that important aspect or that necessary activity, ang eating or ang pagkain, sabi nga natin, ay bahagi ng ating social and cultural aspects of life. Sa mga Filipinos nga, di ba, in every occasion, there is always an involvement of food. Tama ba? Na in whatever event that we are celebrating, food will always be part of it. Okay? Now, eating is not all only focused on those areas. Importante din the quality of food that a certain individual is taking. No? So, importante din yung konsepto na tinatawag natin healthy foods, no, na dapat kinakain or iniinom natin to make our body strong, no, and help us, no, help us to survive and help us in our day-to-day life. But there are individuals suffering in what we call eating disorders. Now, eating disorders are defined as alteration in the eating pattern and disturbance in body images that interferes with relationship and occupational functioning. There are several eating disorders which are viewed as clients or individuals with what we call anorexia, clients suffering with what we call bulimia, and clients suffering with obesity. Now, we will define and discuss them one by one. There are several etiology bakit nag-emerge yung tinatawag nating eating disorders or problems pertaining to the eating pattern of an individual. Isa sa tinitignan natin is what we call the biological factors. It could be passed on from a certain families, no, to their future generation, to the future generation ng kanilang lahi. It could be part of the genetics. May tinatawag din tayong dysfunction in the part of the brain, which is the hypothalamic area, na kung saan nagkakaroon ng tinatawag nating disruption of the nuclei or the nuclei in the hypothalamus na several parts affected or certain parts affected will be the lateral hypothalamus and the ventromedial hypothalamus. The lateral hypothalamic area is responsible to what we call hunger. Dito kasi nangyayari yung tinatawag nating decreased eating and decreased responses to sensory stimuli. Na itong area na to ng hypothalamic part of our brain ang apektado in the condition what we call anorexia nervosa. So I will repeat, baka ma-encounter nyo in your examinations, lateral hypothalamus, the one that controls hunger, is the one affected in the condition known anorexia nervosa. Next, we have the ventromedial hypothalamus. Ito naman ang nagko-control to the satiety part na kung saan it refers to the satisfaction of our appetite. Excessive eating, weight gain are observed in this area of the brain, and dito naman nagkakaroon din ng mga decreased responsiveness to satiety effects of glucose, and ito ang area affected naman within bulimia nervosa condition. For the neurochemical imbalance, three important neurotransmitters affected are norepinephrine, epinephrine, and serotonin. Norepinephrine is the one responsible, no, when it comes to sympathetic nervous system natin. But apart from that, when it comes to the imbalance, decreased levels of norepinephrine during periods of restricted food intake may happen or may be observed to certain eating disorders. Epinephrine is also another neurotransmitters involved, sympathetic response, pero ito naman, the imbalance explains decreased levels are related to decreased heart rate and blood pressure. And ito yung affected in the condition known anorexia nervosa. Serotonin, on the other hand, increased levels are linked to increased satiety, and decreased levels are seen in bulimia nervosa. So I will repeat, three important neurotransmitters involved in eating disorders are your norepinephrine, epinephrine, and serotonin. For the developmental factors, well, experts, doctors, researchers shared their findings that eating disorders emerged from failure to develop autonomy, failure to establish unique identity, poor role modeling, and even family dysfunction. Under this family dysfunction, some of the developmental factors are response to family conflicts and problems, childhood adversities, kagaya ng mga experiences or situations where there are sexual abuse, parental maltreatment, rejection, excessive paternal control, overprotectiveness, failure to develop satisfying relationship with peers. Social factors are also important to remember why these eating disorders emerge. So nandito pumapasok yung influence ng media. It could be through advertisements, TV shows, different movies, even published images in magazines, books, or any other publications, even in newspapers. And in the current generation, where internet or the social media are the one influencing the public, especially young females, adolescents, no, per se, na sila talaga yung naaapektuhan or sila yung mga individual na nakakakita, nakakabasa ng mga iba't ibang figures that they aspire or that they idolize, and it affects their eating pattern for them to achieve those certain body figures. Mas madalas kasi, thin models reinforce cultural belief that slimness is attractive. So yan naman talaga yung isa sa mga nakagisnan ng mga tao, kaya isa ito sa mga factors na kinoconsider natin why certain individuals refuse to eat or refrain from eating for them to have that thin body figure. And hindi lamang ang media, minsan ang mga nakaka-influensya sa tao is yung mismong kanilang peers or mga kaibigan or minsan yung mga tao within their environment influence them to alter their eating pattern. Now, based on DSM-5, eating disorders are categorized into anorexia nervosa, bulimia nervosa, and yung mga iba't iba pang klase ng eating disorders. Now, let's discuss them one by one. Let's start with anorexia nervosa. As you can see in the picture attached in this presentation, anorexia nervosa, most of the time, yung individual, ang tingin niya sa sarili niya, kapag tumitingin siya sa salamin, the brain is telling the person na mataba siya. Na siya ay malaki, na siya ay obese, or na siya ay sobra-sobrang taba na meron sa kanyang katawan. So, ibig sabihin nito, the image na nakikita niya, malaki siya, which is taliwas sa kung ano ang kanyang body figure in reality, ang kanyang body figure in the current situation. Na in reality, in the real context of life, siya ay payat. Siya ay may body weight na 15 to 85% less than the expected or the normal body weight of the person. So, anorexia nervosa is a life-threatening eating disorder. It is life-threatening, it's primarily because the person is not eating at all. Because of the thought process, the perception na siya ay mataba, na siya ay malaki. Now, when it comes to symptoms of anorexia nervosa, ang anorexia nervosa is common among females and one of the important symptom is the amenorrhea. And this will last for at least 3 consecutive cycles. I will repeat amenorrhea for at least 3 consecutive cycles. There are also no organic factor accounts for the weight loss. Ang ibig sabihin nito, wala namang existing physiological or medical problem or disease or illness associated with this. The person appears obviously thin, pero ang pakiramdam niya, siya ay mataba, siya ay malaki. Refusal to maintain body weight, emotional expression is restrained, and there are symptoms of depression, even social withdrawal are present. There is an intense fear of gaining weight. Ayaw na ayaw talaga nilang tumaba. Ayaw na ayaw talaga nilang lumaki. And lastly, always think of food and food-related activities. But their mind is preoccupied with foods. There are two subtypes of anorexia nervosa. One is what we call restricting subtype. The restricting subtype is defined as weight loss through fasting, dieting, and excessive exercise. So the person is not eating at all because the food intake is limitado. Limitado in the sense na di siya kakain, total magda-diet siya at all. And then, at the same time, other people, they do, no, excess workout or exercise, no, they will do activities, no, in excess para pawisan sila at para ma-feed yung mind nila na papayat or liliit sila if they will exert extra effort on their activities. The binge purging subtype naman, eto naman is a weight loss, but this is through inducing. Induce na pipilitin nilang masuka, at para sila masuka, they will take chemical substances or drugs. Gagamit sila ng laxatives. So, all entry and exit points will be stimulated. Susuka sila, idudumi nila lahat na kinakain nila. That's why they are taking chemicals. It's either idudumi nila or gusto nilang umihi ng umihi ng umihi. So these people are taking medications without prescription by the doctors, no? But they will believe using these types of chemicals, maiihi sila at pag naihi sila, bababa yung kanilang body weight. Pag nadumi sila, bababa ang kanilang timbang. Kaya they are using these types of medications or drugs even without prescription. And enema as well. Now, these are the following medical complications related to weight loss. The table explained the different body systems and what will be the problem in each system, no? All connected to the weight loss or anorexia nervosa of a certain individual. Now, the other one is what we call bulimia nervosa. For the bulimia nervosa naman, it's an eating disorder characterized by recurrent episodes of binge eating. And this is at least twice a week for 3 months. So, ibig sabihin about 2 days for 3 months. Symptoms experienced by patient diagnosed with bulimia nervosa could be binge eating. There could be under strict dieting or vigorous exercise as well. Lack of control, there is an induced vomiting. So ito ang ginagawa ng mga clients natin, they will put their finger within their mouth, dudukutin nila or stimulate nila gag reflex nila for them to vomit. There is also what we call moth-eaten appearance of teeth kasi nga yung patuloy na pagsusuka nila where they bring out gastric acid or juices, it affects the oral area and that includes yung kanilang mga ipin. Increased and persistent concern of body, and there is an abuse of diuretics and laxatives. Now, the table explains to us certain medical complications related to purging or yung tinatawag na nating bulimia nervosa. So, there is what we call perimyolysis. Ito nga yung erosion of the dental enamel dahil nga dun sa mga gastric juices na isinusuka nila. It contains acid, kaya it affects the teeth of our clientele. Gastrointestinal part, may mga tinatawag tayong infection of certain parts of the digestive system because of the reflux, because of the what you call this continuous vomiting or passing out of gastric components. Kaya nauuwi sa esophagitis, pancreatitis, inflammation of the salivary glands, even enlargement of the parotid glands. For metabolic concerns, meron tayong tinatawag na mga abnormalities of the fluid and electrolyte, merong cases of hypokalemia, metabolic alkalosis, hypochloremic alkalosis, hypomagnesemia, and elevated PAN. For the neuropsychiatric naman, clients may experience seizure, fatigue, and weakness. So in management and treatment of eating disorders, it's important, nurses, to establish nutritional eating pattern. So anong mga initiatives natin under this intervention? So we need to set a specific time for meals, no, or during eating time ng client natin. So dapat establish tayo. Let's say for example, we help clients and their families have a routine time, no, when to eat or when to take foods. Let's say breakfast will be around between 7 to 7:30 a.m. And then may mid-morning snack, let's say a piece of fruit, ganyan, pwede yun around 10 a.m. Then lunchtime will be at exactly 12 noon or let's say between 12 noon to 1 p.m. Then mid-afternoon snack by 3 p.m. And then dinner naman tayo by between 7 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. It is also advisable that either the nurse or any member of the healthcare team or those people looking after our client, dapat we sit with them while they are eating to observe and to check if they are genuinely eating their food or their snacks. If it's not possible, it could be their family member. Yan. Kaya it is also suggested na kumain ng sabay-sabay, lalo na if the patient will be discharged at home in their respective families or houses. Mas maganda, isa sa mga recommendation natin is yung kumain along with the client. Observe client following meals and snacks mga 1 to 2 hours after kumain. Kasi yung iba sa kanila, they will feel guilty, and as they feel guilty, ito throw up nila yan eventually after a few minutes. Weigh client daily in uniform clothing. provide positive and negative reinforcement with weight compliance, offer liquid protein supplement if unable to complete required calories. So yung mga liquid protein supplement natin, ito yung mga if you're aware of yung mga complete meal milk, let's say for example yung Ensure, one of the brand na binibigay natin. So on top of the food, that type of product contains no additional supplements like protein, vitamins and minerals na pwede ding makatulong for the weight gain of our client. But don't get me wrong about the weight gain now. Weight gain in the sense na from obtaining weight below what is expected or below normal, with this supplement, may aangat natin siya at a normal or expected body weight level. So, ganun yung ibig nating sabihin. Adhere to treatment program guidelines regarding restrictions. So, dito naman papasok yung mga limitations natin on what are the foods and fluids that we will allow our client to eat or take. So, as much as possible, walang mga food substitutions. Hanggat maaari, fresh yung mga foods na ibibigay natin sa client natin. Fresh in the sense na yung pagkain na iluluto or ipe-prepare sa kanila out of fresh ingredients like fruits and vegetables or meat or fish. Ayan. No energy drinks. Dito pumapasok yung mga energy drinks na nagbibigay ng immediate in glucose level for your client to use or to utilize. Tapos biglang, pag na-consume nila, biglang bagsak. Ayan. So, and at the same time, itong mga energy drinks din na to, they use simple sugars, so they're not helpful in the body of our client. Prevent hoarding, hiding, or discarding foods, and refrain from excessive exercises. Now, let's discuss the different or the other forms of eating disorders based on DSM-5. May tinatawag tayong mga binge eating disorders. It is defined as recurrent episodes of binge eating. Now, this one is different from the bulimia nervosa kasi ito, at least once a week for 3 months. Okay, yun naman yung nangyayari dito. Not associated with the recurrent use of inappropriate compensatory behavior, not occur exclusively during the course of bulimia nervosa or anorexia nervosa. But the symptoms that we may observe among our clients could be eating much more rapidly than normal, eating until feeling uncomfortably full, eating large amounts of food when not feeling physically hungry, eating alone because of feeling embarrassed by how much one is eating, feeling disgusted with oneself, depressed, or very guilty afterwards. And yung iba naman, there are marked distress regarding binge eating. Pica naman is another eating problem, and this is also recognized by the DSM-5. Now, the problem with pica, ang kinakain ng isang individual is a non-nutritive, non-food substance type of matter, no, na it happens over a period of at least 1 month. So, kumakain siya ng mga items na hindi naman edible, na non-nutritious, walang nutritional component. Example nito, ang very common na nangyayari, hair, buhok, no? There are people or there are individuals, kinakain lang yung buhok nila. So they will pick their hair and then they will eat it. Now this happened because it is also associated with stress, with anxiety, ayan, with panic attacks. So whatever is present in the environment or within their surrounding, yan yung minsan madalas na nangyayari sa kanila. Worst cases naman ito, yung mga kumakain ng coins, cigarette butts, mud, paint, no? Even plastic and cloth. Pero yung cloth, paper is common as well. Alam niyo yung mga sa mga, what you call this? Alam niyo yung mga cupcake, mamon, or yung mga, nabibili yung mga simple sugars na mga cupcake or what you call that one? Yung mga may papel, 'di ba pag nagbe-bake ka before you put the mixture, you put a paper. So yun, mas madalas na form ng paper na kinakain nila. Ayan, muffin, yun yung gusto kong sabihin, muffin. Muffin or cupcakes or yung mga brand ng mga tinapay na mayroong mga nakadikit na papel. Madalas, there are individuals, they prefer to eat the paper part. Warrant additional clinical attention if there is another mental disorder present. So, pwede din nating i-consider if there are other mental problems experiencing by the client why they are into eating this non-nutritive, non-food substances. Next is what we call the rumination disorder. Rumination disorder is defined by repeated regurgitation of food over a period of at least 1 month. So when you say repeated regurgitation, there is what we call an unforced regurgitation, no? Kaya, alam mo yung kinain, nilunok na nila, then they will force their body to regurgitate it again, ibalik or iluwa ulit nila ulit. Kaya medyo hindi maganda ang amoy ng kanilang bibig, problema natin yan, chronic bad breath, tapos discomfort within their stomach, chopped lips, kasi nga because of that regurgitation, meron tayong pagbagsak or pagbaba ng fluids, kaya importante din yung what you call this, assessment for dehydration. And we also have to check the weight of the client. So what happened to that regurgitated food? The person or the individual will chew it, re-swallow it, or some of them, they spit it out. Now, regurgitation is not associated or attributed to any gastrointestinal disease or any other physiological illness or problem. It does not occur exclusively during the course of anorexia nervosa, bulimia nervosa, or binge eating disorder. But again, we need to warrant additional clinical attention kung may existing pa na na-observe or nakita tayong another mental disorder or another mental health problem. Next is what we call avoidant or restrictive food intake disorder. Ito naman, it is characterized by apparent lack of interest in eating. For this one, it is manifested with persistent failure to meet appropriate nutritional and or energy needs. So, hindi talaga kumakain at all. But remember, student nurses, avoidant food intake disorder is associated with significant weight loss or failure to achieve expected weight gain, significant nutritional deficiencies, dependence on enteral feeding or oral nutritional supplement, marked interference with psychosocial functioning. So, yan class yung mga pwedeng makita natin or ma-assess natin for this type of eating disorder. This is an infographic where you can observe what are the different symptoms of this type ng eating disorder natin. So, may significant weight loss, may cold intolerance, abdominal pain can also be manifested, no body image struggles, but there is a fear of choking or vomiting, no fear of weight gain, pero nakakaranas sila ng fatigue, but ironically, sometimes there is an excess energy, and they only eat food with particular textures. So, medyo may tinatawag tayo ditong sensory disturbance. Next is what we call unspecified feeding or eating disorder. Now, this one is diagnosed when an individual's symptoms do not line up with those of another disorder. This one is not, there is not enough information about this type of eating disorder. Hindi masyado tong na-explain or naipaliwanag, but kaya nga siya unspecified, pero it can be changed once more information is gathered or symptoms changed over time. So, ibig sabihin, if there could be further observation among these type of clientele, pwedeng mabigyan pa natin ng additional input about the unspecified feeding or eating disorder. Next is the muscle dysmorphic disorder. Now, for the muscle dysmorphic, eto naman, ang finifeed sa utak ng client natin is wala siyang muscle, mataba siya, puro siya malaki, or the muscles are too small na there is an insufficient muscularity among the individual. Mas common ang muscle dysmorphic disorder among males na mga nagpapalaki ng katawan na yun nga, yung pinifeed ng kanilang mind is hindi ganun kalaki yung muscle nila. Well, in fact, in reality, sobrang laki ng muscles nila, bato-bato naman na talaga sila. Next is what we call orthorexia nervosa. This is a condition that is characterized by pathological obsession with eating foods one considers healthy, marked by exaggerated emotional distress in relationship to food choices perceived as unhealthy. Ito naman, weight loss may ensue as a result of dietary choices. Para mas madali niyong maalala ang orthorexia nervosa, ito yung mga tao na tingin ng tingin with the labels of the food that they are eating. Alam niyo yung nasa likod ng mga products that we are purchasing, let's say yung nutritional information or yung mga tinatawag na nutritional facts. Let's say how many calories are there, how many sugars are there, how many fat components used, no, for that certain product. So makikita mo yan either sa likod ng mga chips, likod ng mga delata, pwedeng ganon. But for worst case scenarios of individuals diagnosed with orthorexia nervosa, worst scenario is they even ask the person who cooked or prepared the food with regards to the component, no, or ingredients used. Halimbawa, they will call out the chef, o gano'ng kadaming oil ang ginamit dito. What about with the salt and the pepper? Ano ba tong ginamit na type of meat? Is this frozen or fresh meat? May mga ganon. So, masyado na silang nagiging compulsive when it comes to food choices. Ayan. May mga critical thoughts sila with regards to the type of food that they are eating. And other specified feeding and eating disorders based on the DSM-5 are the following. But the thing here is they do not meet the full criteria of for any of the feeding and eating disorders ng DSM-5 class. Ibig sabihin, may mga specifications pa sila. So these are your atypical anorexia nervosa, low frequency or limited duration bulimia nervosa, low frequency, limited duration binge eating disorder, purging disorder, and yung tinatawag nating night eating syndrome. Now, the night eating syndrome, it's a recurrent night eating behavior or problem. Sometimes what happen, nakatulog na yung client and then they will wake up at night just to get something to eat. Sometimes in the middle of the night, parang ganon, no? So, yes, these are the other cases or conditions that may affect the feeding and the eating disorder of a certain individual. At dito po nagtatapos ang discussion or ang ating explanation ng mga iba't ibang klase ng eating disorders na maaaring ang mga ibang individual in our population experience or nangyayari sa kanilang mga buhay. Kung merong mga katanungan, comments, or suggestions, you may send it to my email address, acdemesa@fatima.edu.ph. Muli, maraming salamat po.